As much as a foot of rain fell overnight in some spots north of Madison. Round 2 of the storms are coming our way this afternoon.
The weather isn't making it any easier on students and families trying to move on to the UW campus as the school looks forward to a new research facility.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Tuesday, August 28th, and we just feel like broken records at this point, talking about more rain in the forecast.
Some of that video this morning from kind of north and west was pretty intense. We were getting a ton of emails from people, like 11 to 13 inches. I mean,
a lot of rain between La Crosse and Boston, basically north of the Dells. Madison really missing out on most of that rain, which is good news. But again, anytime you add up rain by the foot, you run into problems. Alert day in effect again for today for the area. There is a risk for strong or severe thunderstorms later on this afternoon and the potential for additional heavy rain across southern Wisconsin. Here's what we currently have. Some counties have been added this morning to the flash flood watch. Dane County and now all areas to the west and north are under that flash flood watch through tomorrow morning. That band of red shaded colors, that is where the heavy rain occurred overnight. Flash flood warnings are beginning to be replaced by aerial flood warnings as the rain is coming to an end, but still a lot of issues north of the Dells this morning with some very heavy rain overnight. Here's the current picture on the radar map. We don't have a lot of lightning and thunder left in the area, which is great news, and the rain has been weakening and trending towards the east as well. So it will end within the next couple of hours for southern Wisconsin. We'll get a break in the activity and then more rain returns later on today into tonight. Anytime after 1 o'clock, fair game for those showers and thunderstorms to once again begin to move into the area. Now, if you're trying to get around this morning, your first alert traffic update, not a whole lot of changes from yesterday. Still many road closures in the downtown Isthmus area due to ongoing flooding. There is one lane opened east of the Beltline on Highway 14, but still some closures there as well. So keep that in mind. Again, things may change as we go forward today with heavy rain coming later on, but right now, no accidents or anything to report.
I imagine they will change. That's pretty inevitable with these kind of rains.
Unfortunately.
Again. Yeah, those storm drains being right up to the edge yesterday.
Yeah.
It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
So dozens of people are being evacuated in western Wisconsin this morning from their homes because of that rain we just heard Hattie talking about in a small village in Vernon County outside of La Crosse. Let's take a look at some video overnight from an area between La Crosse and Stoddard where water levels rose quickly. In Sparta, about a half hour south of there, trees and power lines were knocked over. More than 175 homes and businesses lost power there overnight. The National Weather Service is going to be working in that area this morning in the Sparta-Toma area to investigate reports of a tornado touching down to cause some of that damage.
Dane County emergency officials are watching water levels as well, doing whatever they can to prevent flooding ahead of today's rain. Now, the county is already using what are called aquatic weed harvesters to help with water flow. Those machines pull the weeds from the bottom of rivers and lakes, cutting down on the friction caused by the plants and allowing water to flow through faster. It took 270 loads of weeds to double the flow of the Yahara River, but that has helped levels stabilize there. Now, more than 160,000 sandbags have been handed out in Madison so far. Josh Spreiter's live this morning with crews working through the night to make sure there are plenty more. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Yes, these crews have been working 24/7 since Friday, filling those sandbags, and they actually just suspended the operation for now. They've actually been able to get ahead a little bit. You can see all of the sandbags here right now. They've had quite the assembly line going again since Friday. The street superintendent says they're looking at close to 250,000 sandbags already filled, and he said they'll be monitoring the situation throughout the day, trying to see if they need to fill more. Right now, the Parks Department will be coming in here to the Streets Division and taking all of these sandbags and distributing them across the city at all of those sites. He says because even an inch of rain could be disastrous today, they will be here monitoring those situations, seeing if they're going to need more. Now, the city has been impressed by the community stepping up as well. Over 700 volunteers have registered through the city to help out so far, and the street superintendent says he knows there have been even more than that, but more are being encouraged right now. He says today's expected rainfall is not to be taken lightly, and everyone should be staying tuned to that forecast because, again, an inch of water or an inch of rain could prove to be disastrous across the isthmus. Of course, we're going to be staying tuned to that as well and bringing the very latest on the efforts from here at the Streets Division coming up later in the show. Back to you.
Every little thing you can do to prevent it. All right, Josh Sprider reporting live for us. Thank you, Josh. So rising water and construction projects are closing roads around the UW campus, which means even more congestion for move-in days.
And that's usually a lot of congestion.
Yes.
University move-in day starts today, runs through Thursday. The director of University Housing has been talking to Madison traffic engineers to make sure families know what they need to know as they get to campus. Now, some parking lots may be closed because of flooding concerns, but as of now, all the streets the UW recommends families take during move-in are still accessible.
Obviously, move-in's a big moment in the students' lives and the parents' lives too, and so we encourage them to be relaxed as possible about it. We try to help as much as we can with volunteers and a lot of assistance for that. You know, enjoy the moment. You know, take it in. Walk around campus a little bit after things are moved in if you like. You know, it's a great opportunity, and we try to make it as convenient and painless as possible for everybody.
Relaxed parents, good luck with that. University Housing does plan to send out any updated information to families if those traffic conditions change.
So one of the routes. However, there's a significant first alert traffic note to let you know about this morning as crews try and prevent rising waters from washing out that main thoroughfare into the downtown area. John Nolan Drive will be closed in some areas today while crews do work to stabilize the shoreline there. They'll be putting rocks along Lake Monona to try and reduce erosion from flooding in that area. One inbound lane of John Nolan heading into the downtown area will be closed from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. today through Friday. Madison Mayor Paul Soglin will talk about those efforts and update us on flooding around the isthmus again this afternoon. So out on the western side of Dane County, we've learned the two Highway 14 bridges on either side of Black Earth are going to need to be completely replaced after last week's storms. DOT engineers determined they are structurally unsafe. The governor has authorized the DOT to spend emergency money to rebuild those bridges as soon as possible. The goal is to have that work done before winter. In Middleton, businesses that have been flooded out for the past week or so are starting to reopen again. According to an email to members, the Costco there will reopen today. Last Monday night, about 50 customers and employees were forced to stay the night because of torrential rain and flash flooding in that area. Costco says the pharmacy, photo center, and hearing aid center at the Middleton location will still be closed until further notice. The health department's recommending private well owners check their water for pollutants after last week's flooding. Homeowners in the flood zone can get their water tested for free. The water testing kits are available to pick up in Cross Plains, Mazomanie, Black Earth, the town of Middleton, and the town of Montrose. UW-Madison's College of Engineering is looking forward to a new research facility this morning, thanks to the Taiwanese tech company building a massive factory here in Wisconsin. Foxconn executives and university administrators announced the company will invest $100 million into engineering and innovation research at the UW. That's one of the largest gifts in the school's history. Specifically, that money will help build a new facility providing opportunities for research in cancer treatments, robotics, driverless cars, and other fields. Foxconn's currently constructing an LCD screen production plant in Racine County where it promises, that is, to employ thousands of people. Speaking of that Foxconn campus, the Mount Pleasant Village Board setting aside nearly $150 million for its part in building that campus. The board voted unanimously yesterday to issue bonds to go toward funding its part of the plan over the next year, including upgrades to the water system. The 30-year bonds will cost the village about $10 million a year in interest, but board members say that should be covered by the taxes that Foxconn pays when that factory is up and running. The village's financial advisors estimate the plant is expected to generate over $30 million a year for Mount Pleasant. All right, it's 6:09 right now. We are getting ready for the start of the school year. My wife's already back at work with other teachers. My kids are burying their heads under their pillows, wanting summer to keep going. Actually, they're not. They love school. Madison Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham's here in studio next to talk about the upcoming year. Good thing there aren't kids waiting for buses later on today because it could be pouring. Yeah, Hattie says round 2 of today's storms are coming this afternoon. Her first alert forecast is coming up next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. Dry here in the Madison area for most of the night, but north of Madison, some very heavy rain continuing for the overnight hours, adding up to many inches in some spots. Let's take a look, though, at the alert day today. Another round of storms are expected today with the potential for severe weather as well as heavy rain across all of southern Wisconsin. So it is an alert day today. Be aware of the weather situation where you are. Here are the current flood bulletins that are in effect. Still a flash flood warning for a few areas north of the Dells. Flood warnings beginning to replace some of those flash flood warnings as the rain comes to an end, but the flooding ongoing there. The rest of the area, that darker green shaded color, is a flash flood watch in advance of the additional rain that we're expecting later today. Now let's take a step back and look at the rain that fell overnight. This is a very impressive band of heavy rain stretching from La Crosse all the way over to Sheboygan. Over the last 24 hours, had a report from a viewer reporting anywhere from 11 to 13 inches of rain in the Mauston area. And you can see that was a pretty steady band crossing the entire state. Here in Madison, less than an inch, though, hardly any rain overnight. Here's a look at Doppler 3000, showing you that the rain is diminishing and falling apart pretty quickly over the last hour. So that is good news that heavy rain is coming to an end, and we'll get a little bit of a break before the rain returns later on this afternoon. You can already see some of that rain developing across central parts of Minnesota. A slight risk for severe weather is in effect for most of the area today, with the exception of our far northwestern viewing area. They're under marginal risk for severe storms. GFS precipitation potential, again, from this time this morning until this time tomorrow morning, or about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. An additional 1 to 2 inches is what forecast by that particular model. The RPM model, slightly higher, but still zooming in on southern Wisconsin as a bullseye for some heavy rain. Again, 1 to 3 inches is expected, according to that forecast model. So we are going to stand to pick up at least 1 to 2 inches of rain. The Edgewater Sky Cam showing you a cloudy shot this morning here in Madison. It's 70 degrees in the capital city, 75 in Janesville, 77 in Prairie du Chien. Dew points are high and expected to remain high through the day in the 70s, so it's going to be quite uncomfortable with heat index values creeping into the lower and mid 90s for a time this afternoon. Here's a look at future tracks showing you a few breaks in the clouds through the morning, but then the clouds return this afternoon. By about 1 o'clock, we'll expect to see some of those showers and thunderstorms developing across the area to the north and then tracking through the entire region this evening and overnight tonight. The rain will diminish, though, on the morning on Wednesday and then leave us with cooler temperatures as we head through the middle of the week. Take a look at your extended forecast. 69 for a high tomorrow. Sunshine returns, especially on Thursday, with a high of 75, so at least a couple of days to dry out. There are rain chances, though, heading into the upcoming holiday weekend. Now it's time to get a look at your first alert traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, so far not looking too bad on the Beltline. Things are moving well in both directions with no major issues from end to end. Checking out roads here in Dane County, still some issues with closures due to flooding, including East Johnson Street from 1st Street to Baldwin Street, and partial lane closures on John Nolan from 9 to 3 p.m. through Friday. And Highway 14 still looking at lane closures between Black Earth and Cross Plains. No major delays downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume not an issue at this point. And other main routes heading into Madison, they're cruising along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. That definitely a very mobile, flexible situation, the traffic here today. 6:16 right now, 1 week from today. Sorry, kids, alarms will be going off around Madison. The kids will be preparing for new teachers and new classrooms, but the district is preparing for a new program to help students of color.
Here to talk about that program and other things parents should know as their kids go back to school is Madison School Superintendent Jennifer Cheatham. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. Good morning.
We should let people know you brought your backpack.
I did.
Like you were ready for back to school.
I'm ready to go.
Before we get into kind of the strategic plan that you have going forward as a parent, we were just talking about our kids kind of going. Is it different for you as an administrator now, also as a parent, to see this not only through kind of administrator eyes, but parent eyes with your child?
Absolutely, yes. I think
How so?
It's enhancing my experience to be both the leader of our school district and a parent. Yeah, I just have I already had empathy for parents. These are our most cherished people, right? Our children. So I already had deep empathy, but it's unbelievably even deeper than it was before. I think it's made me a better leader.
To kind of look back before we look forward, what kind of conversations have been happening over the summer as you guys kind of work through that and prepare for this school year?
With my child?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, with the school district too, or with your child, either one. No. I know there's a lot of conversations happening probably both places.
Exactly. No, we've had a tremendous summer preparing for the launch of our new strategic framework. We have been putting the finishing touches on our goals, our strategies for the upcoming year and years, and preparing schools for a strong start to the school year.
So we were talking just a little bit ago about the new innovative research center that Foxconn's actually putting on the UW-Madison campus. And I know a part of your strategic framework is to include innovation and to encourage innovation in individual schools.
Yeah.
How does that work in a district this size?
Oh, it's such a good question. We have come to believe that innovation is critical for the school district. And for us, it's not necessarily a thing, but a way of working, right? A way of thinking. We think we're good at continuous improvement, getting better at things year after year, and I think that's showing up in our results. But we're not good enough at creative problem solving, right? Trying to tackle the problems that are most difficult to budge. And for us, that means building a skill set around problem identification, deeply understanding a problem, ideating, thinking about all the ways we could solve the problem, and then trying something, which requires some risk-taking. Which we think is actually quite important because you learn through taking risks. And we're really excited about it. We have a brand new innovation team that will be supporting our schools district-wide. We're talking about innovation from the classroom to the boardroom. And we're establishing some new partnerships, one with American Family, because they have some real skills around innovation. And we want to take advantage of some of the local expertise beyond the school district walls to help us think about how to do that work.
A lot going on. Yeah. a lot to be excited about, too.
Absolutely.
All right, 1 week away, folks. Jennifer Cheatham joining us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good luck is probably the better.
Have a great school year, everybody.
We will. All right, 6:19 or 6:20 right now, and there are efforts in Dane County to make sure photo IDs are available to anyone who wants to vote this fall. Coming up, we'll share the county clerk's plan to make that happen.
We've already seen more than 10 inches of rain north and west of Madison this morning. The radar shows that area and southern Wisconsin could get even more rain this afternoon. Hattie's going to update the forecast next on News 3 This Morning.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. It's another day to be aware of the weather in southern Wisconsin. We have an alert day in effect for the area. The risk for strong to severe thunderstorms exists this afternoon with the potential for more heavy rain. Here's a look at the current flood bulletins that are in effect. We have flash flood warnings and flood warnings north of the Dells this morning due to very heavy rain overnight. Most of the rest of the area, Dane County included, under a flash flood watch for potential heavy rain coming later today. Here's the current picture on Doppler track this morning. The rain is winding down rather quickly. Not a whole lot left in our viewing area, just a little bit of rain in far southeastern Wisconsin. That will continue to move away from us. There is a slight risk, though, for severe storms later today. The main time frame will be the afternoon into the evening. Now, precipitation potential over the next day. We are going to add up another 1 to 3 inches of rain here in southern Wisconsin. So here's a look at your probability of precipitation. Relatively low through the morning hours into the early afternoon. Really starting to ramp up, though, as we head into the late afternoon and evening time. Stay dry today.
We will certainly try. Thank you, Hattie. So there's an effort in Dane County to educate thousands of voters who did not vote in the 2016 presidential election. A UW-Madison study showed that nearly 17,000 people in Dane and Milwaukee counties were deterred from going to the polls 2 years ago because of the state's new photo ID requirement. Clerk Scott McDonald here in Dane County wants to spend $15,000 to educate low-income voters who may have been affected by that law and point them toward resources that can help them get an acceptable form of ID ahead of November's midterms. The state spent $250,000 on a voter ID public awareness campaign. However, according to McDonald, turnout in 2016 was the lowest it's been in 20 years.
We should get an update later today on Milwaukee's efforts to host the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Representatives from the National Party are in Wisconsin this week to look at the newly opened Fiserv Forum. That's where a majority of the convention would be held in July of 2020. Milwaukee, Houston, and Miami are the 3 finalist cities. The convention could bring 50,000 people to Milwaukee and have a $200 million economic impact in that city. 6:25 right now. Madison police detectives are investigating the second armed robbery on the city's north side in the last 2 nights. We'll share the day's top stories here in a couple of minutes.
Including the latest efforts from a top UW scientist to get more women and minorities involved in that field. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning. There's a couple in southwestern Wisconsin behind bars this morning accused of keeping their kids locked up in cages.
Happening now, city crews have been working around the clock since Friday, monitoring the areas across the city and filling sandbags. I'm Josh Brighter live in Madison with the latest on the flooding efforts this morning.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. It is almost 6:30 here on this Tuesday, August 28th.
There was a round of rain that went through this morning just to the north of Madison. I mean, I heard some thunder, but nothing. I mean, they got a ton of rain kind of in that area from La Crosse to Boston. Let's check in with Henry McLean now for the latest. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, you're right, Adam. There was a band of heavy rain overnight across the central part of the state, and that was just north of the Dells. So parts of our northern viewing area soaked this morning. It is an alert day today. There is a risk for strong to severe thunderstorms coming this afternoon, as well as the potential for heavy rain that would cause additional problems with flooding here across southern Wisconsin. Many areas under a flood watch this morning, Dane County included, as well as all of southwestern Wisconsin. Those counties have been added just within the last hour. We are expecting some pretty heavy rain. Flash flood warnings continue for areas north of the Dells, though, due to that heavy rain overnight. Here's a look at the radar map. Good news right now, at least for the time being. The rain is really diminishing. Over the last 30 minutes, we've really seen that rain fall apart for our viewing area. So at least a couple of hours to dry out. Try and sprinkle on me here in the backyard weather patio, but we're not likely to see much rain before lunchtime here in Madison. It's during the afternoon and evening that the heavy rain and severe weather will be possible. Now here's a look at your first alert traffic update this morning. Here's a look at the Madison area. Still many road closures on the Isthmus due to the flooding, but no major delays just yet on the Beltline. Looking at Highway 14, still some lane closures west of the Beltline due to ongoing flooding concerns there, but otherwise no accidents to report in and around Dane County. If you are traveling into Madison right now on some of those major routes into the city, you're still going at posted speeds. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Addie. It's a different story in parts of western Wisconsin this morning. This is what they're waking up to. A whole lot of rain on the ground and some serious storm damage as well this morning. As
Hattie mentioned, a foot of rain fell in some places between La Crosse and Boston, led to dozens of people being evacuated from their homes. Looked like that area is going to get hit again today, just like Madison. Josh Brighter's live this morning at the Madison Streets Division with how it is preparing for what's to come. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, those city crews have been working nonstop since Friday on 12-hour shifts, working to fill all of these sandbags. Now, within the last half hour, they actually suspended the sandbag filling operation as all of these sites are full across the city this morning. Now they're working on cleaning up some of the debris around the flooded areas ahead of the expected rainfall today. The Streets Department has been pushing hard filling the sandbags. The Parks Department comes in and grabs all the bags and then distributes them across the city. The Madison Street Superintendent says they're looking at close to 250,000 sandbags, 250,000 already filled. He'll be monitoring the situation throughout today to see if more need to be done. He says even an inch of rain could prove to be disastrous, and that's why they'll be watching very closely to see if more need to be filled. The city's also been impressed by the community stepping up as well. More than 700 volunteers have already registered through the city, and those are just the ones that have registered. He said hundreds of more have been out there helping those people save their homes. But again, more are being encouraged today, and if you'd like to help out, we have all of the information on how to do so at channel3000.com. So again, guys, they have suspended the sandbag filling operation here for now, but they'll be watching very closely on that forecast throughout the day.
For sure. And Madison Mayor Paul Soglin will have an update for everyone this afternoon as well, with all the flooding expected on the Isthmus. Josh Brighter reporting live for us this morning. Thank you, Josh.
So today is the first official move-in day for thousands of freshmen arriving on the UW-Madison campus. The director of university housing has been talking to Madison traffic engineers to make sure families know what they need to know as they get to campus. There is construction. Places like Charter Street, Johnson Street, Monroe Street, some parking lots may be closed due to flooding concerns. University Housing will send updates to families if anything changes. We also will have the latest radar and road closures on our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. It is free for any smartphone or tablet.
It is almost 6:34 right now, and a Monroe County couple is facing a long list of felonies this morning after authorities say they found kids in their home locked in cages.
The couple had 5 children living there, 4 of whom were adopted. Leah Lynchide's in the newsroom with the details from that criminal complaint. Good morning, Leah.
Lots of comments online this morning, all of these folks wondering the same thing. How was this couple allowed to adopt 4 kids? There are 9 felony counts against 46-year-old Travis Lanier Hedrick and 39-year-old Amy Michelle Hedrick each. A criminal complaint says police found one child in a horse trough that was tied with zip ties. Another child was locked in an actual cage. Amy Hedrick told officers the kids were caged to protect themselves. Now, this case is in court at the same time as state lawmakers are taking a look at some policies impacting some of Wisconsin's most vulnerable kids. At the state capitol today, there is a study committee meeting to talk about making sure kids in the legal system are placed in safe homes. Representatives from the Department of Children and Families will be testifying there. Now, back to this case. Both the Hedricks are facing $20,000 bonds. They'll be back in court September 6th.
All right. Interesting and sad story for sure. Leila and Shai, thank you.
Madison police detectives are investigating their second armed robbery in the last 2 nights on the city's north side. This latest one happened just before midnight on Troy Drive. That's at the north end of Warner Park. The 58-year-old victim was parking her car when 3 men pulled a gun on her and stole her keys. The woman was not hurt in that incident. You may remember early Monday morning, 2 men kicked in a side door of a home near Lindbergh Elementary School and robbed a mother and her 3 kids at gunpoint. We'll share any updates on either of those cases later today on channel3000.com.
The head of UW's Discovery Center is talking today about getting more women and minorities into the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. Dr. Jo Handelsman served 3 years as a science advisor for President Obama. She's developed a curriculum to increase diversity in science. She's speaking to the Wisconsin Technology Council at lunch today at the Sheridan over by the Alliant Energy Center. Now, that speech comes a day after Foxconn announced at the Discovery Center it was going to be investing $100 million in innovation and engineering research at the university. 6:36 right now. The head of Madison's water utility may have conditions placed in his new contract to make sure he's not overseeing a multi-million-dollar deficit in the future. We'll share the latest in the morning sprint.
And we'll let you know about how the Janesville School District wants to make sure hunger won't be a barrier to making sure kids can actually learn this year. That story's next on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back to the program. It's almost 20 minutes to 7 on this Tuesday morning. The time of the morning we always ask you to share a little bit of what's going on in your world with us. And I figured with all of the weather and the rain and the storms, we could use a little zen, a little mild-mannered Chuck Slayton picture that he posted there on Facebook. I just thought it was calm, which is kind of
and sunshine.
The calm is what I was particularly tapping into there. So thank you so much for sharing, Chuck. We appreciate it.
Keep them coming if you can. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it over on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email us, whatever you do. Just use that hashtag MyNews3Morning so we can find them and share our favorites every morning here on the show.
University of Wisconsin is being recognized again nationally as one of the top 30 universities in the country. The ranking from Washington Monthly's annual college guide is based on research, social mobility, and community service. UW-Madison ranked 22nd overall, up from 26th last year. The guide says UW-Madison spends the 4th most money on research, awards the 3rd most science and engineering PhDs, and ranks 14th in the number of alumni who go on to serve in the Peace Corps.
A number of students in the Janesville School District will be able to get 2 free meals this year. The Janesville Gazette reports that the district will offer free breakfast and a school lunch program. Some of the schools in the district will require parents to apply for that program, and those applications could include some information about household income. Just so you know, there's more information at the school district's website, janesville.k12.wi.us.
All right, so we are bracing for another round of heavy rain here in Madison later today and into tonight. Places north of the city got as much as a foot of rain already today. More appears to be on the way. It's just kind of gray and blah out there right now. Madison engineers are worried about flooding downtown. Hattie's First Alert forecast is up next.
But first, please let us know if you have a kiddo turning 3 soon so we can help y'all celebrate by showing their picture here on News 3 this morning.
So we're taking a live look outside right now from the WISC-TV Skycam. That little light on the horizon
See
there?
that.
Wrong, it's not coming. It's another hot and muggy morning. Hattie, though, says it's an alert day because of the rain and storms coming this afternoon into tonight. Her forecast is coming up here in a minute or so.
All of this rain has caused some issues with wells in the area, but Madison's Water Utility Board is actually going to get an update on possible contaminants in a pair of city wells later today. In particular, earlier this year, they sent out a precautionary warning after they found chemicals in these two wells. They say the compounds may have come from Truax airfield or old landfills and worked their way into the water. The utility says there's nothing to worry about now since the levels of those chemicals are so low. They are scheduled to test those wells again next month.
A lot of people worried about the rain coming later today. Let's check in with Hattie McLean to get the details. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, there's a real threat for heavy rain coming later on today. For that reason, an alert day in effect for southern Wisconsin. Also the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms with large hail and damaging wind. Again, all that coming later today. Now, overnight, we had some very heavy rain lining up from La Crosse right across the state towards Sheboygan, and that has prompted flash flood warnings and flood warnings in some spots. Northern parts of Sauk County, northwest Columbia County, also parts of Juneau and Adams County hit very hard with many inches of rain overnight. Now the rest of the area, this darker green shaded area, is a flash flood watch issued in advance of a heavy rain event, and we are expecting some more rain later on today. Here's a look at one particular model, precipitation potential. This is the GFS model, actually coming down a little bit on rain here in Madison, around an inch, but up to around 3 inches possible across parts of southern Wisconsin. By contrast, here's a different forecast model. The similarities, though, are that we're looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain for southern Wisconsin. Not good news, considering we definitely don't need any more rain. Now, that heavy rain event that I mentioned overnight, here are the results. You can see this band of very heavy rain, the oranges and red shaded colors indicating 4 to 10 plus inches of rain. Northern Wisconsin over the last 24 hours also picking up some much needed rain. Decidedly dry, though, right along the state line with less than an inch. Our Doppler track showing you that the rain overnight is winding down here for southern Wisconsin, but it's just firing up across parts of Minnesota and Iowa. These showers and thunderstorms developing along a cold front that will be moving into the area later today. So while things are quieting down for us, we have round 2 coming this afternoon. Slight risk for severe weather again for most of the area later today. Temperatures are starting very muggy this morning. Where it has been raining, we're looking at 60s this morning, but 70 here in Madison, and mid-70s to the south and west, where they've been completely dry overnight. Dew points are high as well in the 60s and low to mid-70s, so it's going to be another uncomfortable day with humidity levels remaining high. There may be a few peaks of sunshine this morning, but they're likely to be pretty short-lived as that front approaches from the north and west later today. Here's 1 o'clock or 1:30. You can see some development already occurring in our northern viewing area. A line of showers and thunderstorms then likely to move from northwest to southeast through the area late this afternoon into this evening. As that storm system, though, exits, we will still likely see a round of heavy rain heading into the overnight hours. Things begin to dry out, though, for Wednesday. Will clear out late in the day, but look at these high temperatures, only in the upper 60s in some spots tomorrow afternoon. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We'll have a couple of days to dry out Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday may start out with some fog. After all this rain today, plenty of moisture in the atmosphere for some fog development Wednesday night into Thursday morning as temperatures dip into the upper 40s. After that, though, we're back to around 80 for the holiday weekend. There will be chances for rain returning Friday into Saturday. Here's a look at our pet walk forecast.
Oh.
Minute? Is that how he said it?
Sure.
In Maizomini? I hope Minute's dry.
Yeah, I was going to say, in Mazo, too, after what's been going on there.
I know.
The evil eye there. The hairy eyeball for good reason.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Your morning sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 This Morning. Almost 6:52, time now for the morning sprint. Hattie says it's an alert day for the possibility of severe storms and flash flooding. Leah Lynchide's updating us on the charges two parents face for allegedly locking up their kids in cages.
Josh Spreiter's live in Madison reporting on the city's efforts to prevent more flooding. It's going to be really difficult if we get the same kind of rain later today that western Wisconsin was hit with overnight. That's where we start this morning. Dozens of people are out of their homes between La Crosse and Stoddard and the Coon Valley area as well. Some of those areas saw as much as a foot of rain. In Sparta, trees and power lines were knocked over. Hundreds more people and businesses lost power. The National Weather Service is going to be in that Sparta-Toma area this morning to investigate reports of a tornado touching down to cause some of that damage.
Speaking of high winds, winds of more than 80 miles per hour caused this damage at the Red Wing Regional Airport overnight. That's in Pierce County, Wisconsin, about an hour southeast of the Twin Cities. Two jets were damaged and a hangar that was under construction collapsed. You can see the roof blown off another there. There were also reports of water flooding buildings around the property. No one was hurt.
I'm Josh Spreiter live at the Madison Streets Division, where city crews have been working nonstop since Friday. All of these sandbag sites are full across the city this morning, ready to be distributed. The Madison Street Superintendent says they're looking at close to 250,000 sandbags already filled. He'll be monitoring the situation throughout today to see if more need to be done. He says even an inch of rain could be disastrous today. 700 volunteers have registered through the city to help out so far, but more are being encouraged.
Thank you, Josh. Dane County is using specialized machines to help keep lake levels down, help protect against future floods. The machines are called aquatic weed harvesters. Need one of those for my yard. They pull the weeds from the bottom of the rivers and lakes, which cut down on the friction caused by the plants, allows the water to flow faster.
There will be single lane closures on John Nolan Drive for the rest of the week as crews try to make sure water doesn't wash out that road. They'll be putting rocks along Lake Monona to try and reduce erosion from flooding in that area. One inbound lane of John Nolan heading toward downtown will be closed from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. through Friday.
And we are expecting more rain today, especially this afternoon into this evening. This morning, the rain is coming to an end rather quickly, so we'll have a few hours to dry out before the next round returns. It is an alert day for southern Wisconsin. Severe storms and heavy rain possible. Again, the timing on these will be later today. We have flood bulletins in effect for most of the area. It's a flash flood watch here in southern Wisconsin for 1 to 3 inches of additional rain.
Rowe County is facing 9 felony counts each for allegedly keeping their 5 kids in cages. 46-year-old Travis Lanier Hedrick and 39-year-old Amy Michelle Hedrick are accused of keeping their 5 kids locked up inside their home. 4 of those children were adopted, 1 is biological. Police say they found 1 child inside a horse trough tied with zip ties and another in an actual locked cage. Amy Hedrick told officers the kids were caged to protect themselves. The couple is back in court next month. Meanwhile, later today at the Capitol, state lawmakers will be talking about how to make sure kids in the legal system are placed in safe homes.
Thank you, Leah. Madison Police Chief Mike Koval is warning about a batch of heroin that has led to 8 overdoses in the city since Friday. Narcotics detectives believe fentanyl was mixed with the heroin those people used. Fentanyl is up to 100 times stronger than morphine, while heroin is typically 2 to 5 times as potent.
Hometown pharmacy locations across the state will now offer drug deactivation pouches to help people get rid of their old prescription drugs. The Department of Justice partnered with those pharmacies to offer these pouches. You just add water and then throw it away in the trash. The DOJ says people struggling with heroin addiction often start with painkillers from a friend or family member.
The president's tweeting this morning about the success of the NASDAQ. That market opens up at an all-time high. The Dow is higher than it's been in a number of months as well. The NASDAQ went over 8,000 on Monday thanks to big gains in tech companies like Apple, Amazon, Netflix. Investors on Wall Street did well after trade negotiators from the U.S. and Mexico announced an agreement to replace part of NAFTA.
UW-Madison's College of Engineering is looking forward to a new research facility thanks to the Taiwanese tech company already building a massive factory here in Wisconsin. Foxconn executives announced the company will invest $100 million into the UW. That's one of the largest gifts in the school's history. That money will help build a new facility, providing opportunities for research in cancer treatments, robotics, driverless cars, and other fields.
Madison's Water Utility Board is going to consider adding conditions to its general manager's new contract as the utility deals with a $6 million budget deficit. Tom Heikkinen's been the GM since 2008. He would make more than $150,000 a year under this proposed 5-year deal. Common Council asked the Water Board this month to require financial monitoring conditions to Heikkinen Steel.
6:57 right now. We are continuing to monitor roads specifically north of Madison. Let's check in on traffic with Josh Tim.
Hey guys, last night's rain causing some issues in northern Sauk County. County Highway H is closed due to a culvert washout, and County Highway F is closed due to a bridge being out, so just make sure you plan ahead. Here in Madison, no major issues showing up yet on the Beltline in either direction. Would plan on some lane closures on inbound John Nolan from 9 until 3 p.m. That's for the rest of the week due to some reinforcement to the shoreline. And other main routes heading into Madison are moving along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And this is kind of a pretty shot from our Creamy Radio Sky Cam showing the clouds breaking up just a little bit there. Some sunshine is possible early this morning. Otherwise, we're looking at rain returning to the area. It's an alert day for southern Wisconsin with potential for severe weather and heavy rain this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Hattie. We'll have the latest all day long on News 3.
I kept my